come to Australia? There's a couple of ways to get to Australia. As you can see here, the first one is you might want to catch a boat. It's the cheaper option, generally the longer option if you manage to get here. Second option, probably the best option you can get, is jump on a plane. Now, when you get to Australia, there's a couple of things that you should know. The first thing is a bit about our flora and fauna. Now, as you can see here, we have a bloody great big red kangaroo. These are fantastic animals. Here in Australia, we actually use these to take our kids to school. And on the occasion when we're short of staff, you'll find that we also use them to deliver the mail. Bloody fantastic animal we have here, really. We also have, as you're probably aware, the koala bears. Now, one of the things you may not know is that koala bears spend the majority of their day pretty much stoned off their nut. When they eat the eucalyptus leaves, gets them pretty high. That's why you tend to find they're sleeping most of the time. They're not really sleeping. They're pretty much just stoned out of their brains. Now, you've got to be really careful of these fellas. They may look kind of cute, but when you're walking through a bush, occasionally you've probably heard of the drop bears. These fellas can actually fall out of the trees if they've had too many gum leaves and give you a real clobbering to the head. So you want to be careful when you're walking through the bush. Keep an eye on the top of the trees. You don't want any unwanted drop bear, or in this case a koala, falling on your head. Now, here's a typical thing that you'd expect to see in Australia, our Aboriginals. Now, there's two places you can really find these Aborigines. The first one that you'll see in the next slide, up in the Northern Territory. Obviously you get quite a few there. You'll find the rest of these blokes down in Sydney, one particular place actually. You'll find these fellas down at a place called Redfern. Now, as we move on, you'll see their original birthplace being here in Northern Territory, or the famous Ayers Rock. Bloody great place. Once again, a lot of flies, bloody hot, if that's what you like. Never been there, but I'm sure if you're visiting Australia, you might want to go take a squiz. One thing you do want to be careful of, though, if you're visiting the Australian outback, is our bloody big snakes. We have bloody all kinds of snakes, red bellies, brown snakes. This one here is your eastern brown. Got to be careful of these fellas. They sit in the bush and actually wait for you. Little pricks, they'll wait for you to walk past, they'll jump out, and these bastards, they'll bite you on the leg. Now, when these fellas bite you, you've got about an hour, if you're lucky, and then you're dead. So there's not really much we can do for you. We've got anti-venom and everything else. But, watch out for these fellas, because they like to wait in hiding. As soon as they see a fella, especially travellers, for some reason they really like the travellers, they'll be waiting for you in the bushes, and bang! This snake will come out and it'll bloody grab you around the throat, it'll wrap you around, it'll bite you 4 or 5 times, and, well, you're pretty much rooted. So, yeah, if you want to go to the Northern Territory or outback, you want to be careful of these fellas. Even worse than the bloody drop bears, I tell you. Finally, but not least, when you come to Australia, you probably want to go in the surf. Now, I'd advise against that. We have a lot of dangerous things in our surf. Box jellyfish being one of them, blue-ringed octopus. If you get bitten by a blue ring, they have no cure. You bug it. You're going to die. We also have here your good old great white shark. Now, these fellas can also be mistaken for dolphins. What we tend to find, especially with a lot of the tourists, you'll be swimming out in the ocean out there, you'll see this fin come out, you think, oh, bloody great, it's a dolphin. I always wanted to swim with dolphins. As you get closer, you see this fella here. Now, I'll give you a bit of a close-up of its mouth. But, yeah, these buggers, that doesn't really take much, they'll swallow you in one gulp. I hope you've enjoyed our little slide here of welcome to Australia and what to expect. Just a brief preview today. We'll be going on more recently and shortly with our new version of Are You Planning to Move to Australia?